Hello.
Hey, Kirsten.
How are you doing?
Doing pretty well.
Might be a little loud on my end tonight because it's so nice that the windows are open and there's all kinds of traffic noise. In fact, I'm gonna close the door.
I have mine open too.
We'll see how this goes, but then there's kids having fun outside and, you know, noisy. Everybody's enjoying the good weather.
Yeah. It was, what a drastic change from last week.
Oh my gosh. My new plants just died.
They go from one extreme to the other.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey,
Eric.
Eric.
How are you?
Doing good.
Yeah, pretty good. Beautiful day out.
Yeah, it is. It certainly is. Oh, good. You moved it into the thing. I don't care if we put anything in the newsletter or not, but I figure we should just talk about it.
Yeah, you and Lydia both mentioned that. I did put it on the agenda of the Crafton newsletter, and I saw Christmas note also. I didn't really know what to put in. So I put that on the agenda tonight.
Well, if we want to, if things, well, I'll wait to everybody get on. So I can always put together another survey. I can always do that.
That'd be a good place to announce it if we do decide.
Right.
I was here 10 minutes early before I joined Zoom, and I just threw some text together for that. So I'll share the screen, and maybe we can just hammer out what we want to say during the meeting. As far as the newsletter.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to put something about the whole eco district thing, but it's a bit tough because we're having our meeting tonight. We can talk about it, but we're also having the webinar tomorrow. I don't know if we'll have much to put in a newsletter in a week, but.
Why don't I pay attention to what the hell you guys talk about with these eco districts and put a survey in front of you after the meeting. If we like it, we'll send it to Charisma and call it a day.
I think that's an idea. We have it on the agenda now, so we can talk about it later too. And yeah, I think that's a good idea. Colton texted that he is having some trouble logging on, a slow connection, so we'll just wait a couple of minutes, I guess. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. I'm sharing the agenda.
I can. Is Rich planning to join, Dina?
As far as I know, yeah, he didn't mention that he wouldn't make it, so we'll just wait a couple minutes.
Can you do me a favor? This is not something that we need 1,000 people deciding as a planning commission. Can you go to this link, right? Just open that page and then you can delete the link, right? But I just want you to take a little journey with me, right?
Give me just a sec because Colton is having trouble getting in. I'm just gonna make sure he has the right link.
Well, if you go to what I just sent you, that'll take you to the link. That's exactly what yeah, if you just take that, yeah, click the button where it says click here on the left, further to the left. There you go. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So just send
I hope this doesn't kick me out if I click it.
Well, you don't want to click that because you're already in.
But is that the one that you entered through?
Yeah, that's what I entered through for sure.
Okay, so we know it's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put the link in last month's email with the agenda, and I didn't think to do that this month. But I used the link from last month's email.
Sure. Well, and that's what I want to ask
set
you.
Up as a recurring.
I should just put it again.
what's his name? What's her name? God, I'm an idiot. Phil's wife.
Jackie.
She seems, yeah, thank you. She seems to be the one who gets shit done
Mhm.
with regard to the website. But I just wanted, to look at this. So you are Mary Luxbacher. You're someone who comes to these meetings, right? I mean, what about this page helps you understand how to get to tonight's meeting? The April 27th agenda. Well, okay. I don't expect us to have that posted in time for our meetings. That's crazy. But anyone wishing to attend should click here. The meeting is at 6:30 on April 27th. Now, if you scroll down with me just a little bit, it says the fourth Tuesday of each month at 7:50.
And that's a good observation because the the website has those, and Savvy Citizen also has those errors throughout for other things as well.
Right.
The council meetings are listed at the wrong time. Mhm.
It just seemed to me like we can, but is there anything else? My question is, I'm going to send a note. Is there anything else? And delete that thing that I put. I can do it. I'm sorry. You don't need to do anything. Sorry. There you go. With that website, is there anything else in terms of the user experience, the flow of it? Is there anything else that you guys feel is off? Like, I want to ask her to change something. Is there anything else you want to change?
I actually just sent an email before this meeting.
Oh, you already did.
Well, not about that. So please still send the email. But
Okay.
just, I'm going to point out one other thing. So the workshop for tomorrow is still kind of listed as TBD as far as the time. And so since the Savvy Citizen announcement has all that information,
It says 6:30 though.
our visioning page has all the webinars, the workshops,
Oh, so it hasn't been updated there.
and this up at the top a little bit more. It says to be assigned for Zoom webinar.
Good catch.
And maybe the issue is that there's just too many places that these things are listed or something. Maybe we should consolidate so they're only one place. But
yeah, I
other
think
thing-
you're right. I mean, if it were a better workflow, information sessions happen. Click here to see the next one, right? And then it takes you to the community visioning, page with it. So it's only entered in one place, only maintained in one place. But I think we all agreed to change the planning commission meeting time to 6:30 because Ingram asked, and we also, whatever. But I don't think anybody knew that. Does anybody know that?
Well, it was announced in Savvy Citizen. It's just that I think we're just missing. We have some missing links when you go back to.
No, I'm sorry.
Previous.
Not the eco district. I mean the
time of the recurring meetings for planning commission.
Okay, so that was in Savvy Citizen.
They're in Savvy Citizen and in the newspaper correctly, but they're not. Just that that time change is not reflected with that one blurb in the website.
Wow. Okay.
So I just want to. We're at 6:39. So Rich is not going to be able to make it tonight. Okay. So shall we just have our call to order, and then talking about this can be a part of our session. But let's go ahead and do our call to order. Oh, this is so irritating. Okay, so 6:40, we'll do our call to order. Is anybody able to take some notes tonight? I can.
Since we don't have our secretary.
Yes, you can do that.
Let's just take them on the agenda as we go.
Are you doing that, Eric, or do you want me to?
I can say we all do it, right? Sorry.
Well, only. Okay. I think I'll take some notes and then we can all send our notes to Rich or something, if that works. We can't, so Kirsten's sharing her screen. She can't type and lead a meeting probably, so.
Well, I can, but you'll just hear me typing and it'll be annoying.
I'll take notes in case, I don't know.
So we called to order at 6:40. We'll do roll call. I'm here, Kirsten Compitello.
Lydia Herring's here.
Bellchef's here.
Colton's here.
Okay, and we have no citizens on the line right now, so we will move past the citizen comments and move on to our Craftonborough Planning Commission updates. First item on our agenda is the DCED map grant status, which Lydia has been following up on, and unfortunately we did not get it. That came in today. We were not selected. They had too many other applicants who were apparently looking for flood plan help, which is a high priority. So Lydia, do you want to give any additional comments on that?
Just that they, without reapplying, they will review our application again next round, and we have we're still in very good standing with them. So the way the contact Nick Macareth put it was, unless something, out of the ordinary happens, he kind of anticipates us getting awarded that money in the late summer, fall timeframe. And he also clarified, which we had kind of asked him before, but he clarified the fiscal year dates. So.
And who was this?
Nick Macareth at DCED. If we were to proceed with the project, any fund, and then we're awarded that MAP grant in the summer/fall, any reimbursement can be backdated to July 1st. So we could start the project July 2nd if we wanted to, Crafton and Ingram. And if we get awarded in, say, September, the money, we would just send in our receipts from the July timeframe for any consulting work, and we could get reimbursed through that grant.
I was thinking that given that our council has been a bit busy with other topics and hasn't moved forward with this yet, but we have talked about proceeding with the zoning regardless of whether we have the grant or not, that we should consider recommending that we proceed with work commencing in July. We have a consultant who's already on board, who's been selected through the previous RFP process. We have, council was a part of that and approved that consultant. Ingram is on board and has agreed to participate in a joint rezoning process, and they have approved proceeding. July is very close at this point. So we could recommend that council proceed with issuing the work order for that consultant to begin the rezoning process starting in July.
Are you motioning that? Because if so, I'll second it.
I will motion that we recommend to council proceeding with the previously selected consultant and beginning the rezoning process in July in the new fiscal year.
I think the chairperson's not supposed to make motions. I will make that motion.
Messed up my notes.
Sorry.
Okay, we vote. Aye.
And
Do we, just out of curiosity, do we want to say July 2nd, just
We
in
wanna-
case?
yeah, we want to say in July. And that's also important in my mind because the EPD extension letter is only valid until July 1. I think it's July 1 from what I remember. So the boroughs would need to sign that extension letter ahead of July 1 for the rates that EPD proposed that to be valid.
We could suggest that they have two routes here, that they could recommend beginning the work on July 1, and there would be 1 day of work that would be outside the period covered by the grant, which seems like,
Well, you can sign the extension letter without
They
starting.
can sign it tomorrow. Yeah.
or they can sign the extension letter. I mean, I feel like those are both perfectly reasonable options, and it's within council's hands to decide which one they prefer.
I think they're all smart enough. They can figure it out. I mean,
So assuming,
you want to be specific. I have no problem being specific, but I mean, it just seems like, just guys, get it done. Sign it. You've been talking about this for like a millennium. Just
I
sign
mean,
it.
it
move
can take
forward.
time to get everybody on board with signing an extension.
Right.
And it may be worth pointing out that their alternative is just to simply start it on July 1.
Sign on the line which is dotted. Sign as soon as possible and be sure you start at July 1st. Because they can sign it May 31st. They can sign it May 32nd. They can sign it any day they want to, right?
Oh, May 32nd doesn't exist.
May 32nd can exist in my world. But the point is that, just start the work. We signed it on this day, May the 32nd of 2021. Work to commence on July 1st or whatever, Just secure it, move it on. But we
However
don't
they
have to do, so with DCD, with the, it stinks we didn't get approved, but we'll get automatically reviewed. So we don't have to resubmit, submit. There's no dance. There's nothing, right? There's nothing administrative that needs to happen.
Correct.
Great.
So it says EPD agrees to an extended project kickoff through July 1, 2021 for technical work. If the boroughs were to desire any additional extension of technical work following July 1, 2021, please contact us to discuss the applicable terms. That was the extension letter I was reading an excerpt from EPD.
And I don't think we need to tell council which route they should take, but I think that's worth telling them. Just making sure that they remember that, and that that fact doesn't get lost.
Right.
That we're recommending that we proceed with this work in July, and that the current agreement only goes through July 1st. And so that needs to be dealt with by either starting the work by July 1st or signing an extension again.
Right. So we have a motion on the table.
Do we need to re-vote on that motion? All we've really done is added the that there's some information to include with it. Do we want to redo the motion or just?
I think we're good. I mean, I don't have any issue with it. My vote's unchanged. Go team. DCED.
Yeah, this gets into that reminder versus motion thing that we've been doing lately.
I think our motion stands that we're recommending that they begin in July. And
Well,
then
we had something, yeah, you're right, Kirsten. Something materially changed. We
Right.
failed, right? We didn't get the money. All these people with their flood problems got the money. We didn't get the money for our zoning problems. So we failed. But we're saying, go ahead. We're still motioning. We're still go. Get this done. It's important.
Oh, no, that motion stands. I was just asking, now that we've added the additional information about
July stuff?
the extension letter, I don't think that changes our initial motion. That's just additional information that we're sharing with our motion
I
Mhm.
agree with
that
that.
we proceed in July.
Does anybody have a concern about needing to re-motion and re-vote? All right.
Why don't we just do it since it's no big deal? I vote yes.
Yes.
Vote yes.
I'm on the fence. Discussion. Yes.
Then it's clear. There's no questions on council whether our opinions changed based on the new calculus.
Okay. Super. Wow. That's not giving me any luck there.
Okay, well, I will send that to council. And hopefully that will get moving soon. See what happens with that. The next item on our agenda is an update about the construction impact on brick streets. And this was poorly worded. It's an update from previous conversations in February, I believe, during our Crafton Boulevard sewer separation workshop. Some questions were raised about the possibility of keeping those brick streets and what the impact would be of construction vehicles on them. And so the resident who shared those concerns has put together a more formal response and shared it with council, and then also shared it with us through Lydia. So wanted to just put this on the agenda so we have a chance to address it. If we have any, have we all had a chance to look through it, or do we have any comment on it?
Yeah, I thought it was wonderful. Greg and Linda took the initiative to put it together. It seemed, based on Phil's response to Greg, that this was on the borough's radar on some level. And they've had talks, I guess, with the borough engineers. So that was encouraging from my perspective.
I agree, and I actually spoke to Greg previously before this was sent out, and I agree, this was very well put through, and it seems like it's good to go on council's part. Good to go as in they understand the concern and we'll address it.
So I think we all agree with that. I wanted to make sure it was on the agenda so that we formally acknowledged that this was received and that it was considered and that it is valued input. And I know that council has addressed this and responded to the resident who submitted this. Thank you, Eric, for being our note taker tonight.
Yes. Anything else?
Well, while we're on that topic, Colton, since you are our council member representative here tonight, as well as being on the planning commission, do you have anything further to add?
About the brick streets in general, do you mean?
Yeah, updates on anything regarding that?
Nothing.
Just that it's been understood and is being considered.
Yeah, nothing in particular. I know it was discussed at the engineer meeting today that I was in, and they're definitely aware of the need to not utilize the brick streets that are going to be saved. I mean, or that aren't even a part of it for that matter, and that they want to make sure that they don't utilize them so that they can preserve them, so that what happened last time, according to Mr. Wozniak's letter, doesn't happen again.
It has been shared previously that the brick streets are more cost effective to keep than to replace with non-brick. And our visioning document also includes a recommendation to keep brick when possible, or to integrate it into other elements in the documents. Our planning commission has had that on our radar as well.
And I mean, on a personal note, I prefer the brick streets that are there to stay if they can. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I know we have a couple of them over by me that, I mean, they add something, and I think that they've been around longer than I have, certainly, and probably longer than most of us have. So I think, that definitely proves their durability as far as that respect goes. But yeah, I mean, I agree that saving as many of them as we can is ideal. So yeah, definitely agree with that as well.
Well, I had found a study, God, it was back when I was doing the council stuff. And it was unbelievable. The return on the total cost of ownership of bricks versus pavement it's not even close. It's not even the same zip code. But it's the upfront investment, right? It pains me. I said to the former road works person, we put into the budget for the guy to get him a truck, get him another person, and go around and fix brick potholes. That's it. I live on a street full of brick potholes. The whole street doesn't need replaced. There's 33 of them. I counted them that night. I walked home. I counted them. There's 33 egregious ones. They should do 10 of them over the next year.
And we know that the borough has a stock of those bricks.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
It's not even that we need to source them. We have a stock of those exact bricks. And
the cost is not the material. The cost is in the labor. But if you set up a little, think about it. It'd be a nice little marketing gimmick, create your money at work for you, Crafton planning. To me, it makes tons of sense to have a truck, have two people. I mean, we brought the in-house paving, and that's been a walk-off home run. They've saved so much money on that in-house paving program. Everybody, when you talk to them, is complaining about the road fund this and the road. That would be something that's tangible. It's asset driven. But you know what? What drove me nuts about the whole thing is when I talked to Rob about this before he was gone, and he fought me tooth and nail about this because when he worked for the city of Pittsburgh, he hated the bricks, whatever. Well, the bricks work. He said, and I don't know if it's true or not, but the only pothole registered from a Crafton register, when was this, 2019? The only pothole registered from a Crafton resident was one up on Bar Street, and they repaired it. Now, of course, you don't have to be you can be just above dim-witted and drive around town and see the potholes that are there. But as far as someone who actually formally called the borough and said, will you fix the pothole in front of my house? There was only one person in 2019 who actually requested it. Can you believe that? Whether that's true or not, it's what the guy said. Whether that's true or not.
I can believe that.
I can, and I'll tell you, so I like the bricks mainly because, obviously everybody in Crafton loves them. I don't really know a whole lot of people that don't. I think that's part of the charm that brings people to Crafton, for one.
Yep.
Because you don't see that everywhere. That, and personally, I like it because it's traffic calming. to an extent. I mean, yeah, it beats the hell out of my car a little bit if I go too fast, but that's on me for going too fast. So, I think it's traffic calming in that respect. And I think that's good for the streets that we have around here, especially some of the one ways and things that people want to fly down to get through other places. But on the other side of it though, too, I understand there's certain roads that cannot be saved in some respect. Like, there's not, if they have to come through and do a giant project through it, then, there's certain times when it can't be saved. However, I will say, I think that we need to save as many of them as possible. Looking at Park Street, Park Street up above Coulter off of North Emily, that one is really bad. And it's been really bad for a long time, as long as I can remember. I don't know what stands for that, but I mean, it's, so, but anyway, some of them are worse than others. I don't think like Lincoln and Oregon is over where I'm at, and they're both not awful. Lincoln's probably the better of the two, but I think we should save as many of them as possible. That's just my personal opinion on it.
I also think some of the resources that have been shared with us and that we're aware of about the value and the cost benefit of brick streets, we should embed right into that vision document. It really is just a list of things that the Planning Commission would like to share. So I think that would be an appropriate place to embed the references that back up some of the recommendations that we've made, because we did talk about the brick in that document. And I don't think we went into detail about brick streets because it is a living document, and it's actually the next item on our agenda as well. It is a living document that was started really focused around the Crafton Boulevard sewer project and some of the ideas that were applicable there, but it isn't meant to stop there. And so I don't think that it has anything really that talks yet about the value of brick streets in general, but that would be a good thing to add. We've had some of these discussions, and we've also gathered some references that would be useful to include in that.
Another thing that I wanted to mention too, while I'm thinking about it, when I was talking to Greg Wozniak, he had mentioned that he's a part of, I can't remember exactly what it is or what town it's in. I want to say it's Mount Lebanon, but I could be totally wrong on that. It's somewhere sort of around us, and they have sort of a committee or a commission or something focused specifically on saving and repairing brick streets and the best ways to do that, things of that nature. So I think that's worth looking into. I plan to talk to him more about that. I currently don't have time. Between planning commission and council alone is consuming quite a bit of time. So but regardless, that's something that I think, whether it's me or anybody else in general, I think Greg seems to have a lot of information on that. So I think, it's worth following up with him on that as well. That was a good idea that I heard. Another good idea that I had heard while I was out talking to people was just that, hire a bricklayer. It would certainly save, whatever their salary would be probably less than paving a street. So that was the numbers that were thrown at me, just vague, this is what it would cost to have a bricklayer say, whatever X amount a year, it's still cheaper.
The math is already done, Colton. The math is in there. We did it. It was in the 2019 budget. It's all there. It makes a ton of sense. You know what I mean? No one needs to redo it. It was just Rob who fought it tooth and nail. He said, I don't want it, don't need it.
This is also something that we could collaborate on with other municipalities if we don't think that we have enough repair needs on brick streets to need a full-time bricklayer, but there are a lot of municipalities around us, including Ingram, who we're working with on other initiatives with brick streets. So,
and that was kind of my point with the Greg Wozniak thing, was that he had mentioned that, and I have to get more information from him, but he's already involved with whatever this is. It's not necessarily involved with it from a community standpoint, but at least he knows what it's about. He attends some of their meetings or whatever they have. And, so he's definitely a good source of information for that. But I agree. I think that it's worth looking into at least. I think that, like I said, some of the busier roads, okay, maybe those can't be saved in some cases, depending on how bad they are. But like Lincoln, Oregon, they're both pretty quiet streets. Most of the streets that have brick still are pretty quiet. The rest of South Grandview, I mean, you know, I think that the ones that we can save are worth saving.
And you mentioned traffic calming. The ones that have brick are more quiet for a reason, because they have brick and they haven't become cut-throughs because they have brick. And so people don't treat them as cut-throughs
Exactly.
because they don't want to do that on the brick.
I completely agree.
Well, Colton, I'm happy to reach out to the Mount Lebanon group if you have a contact for them, or if it's best that I just ask Greg to connect me with them. I'm happy to follow up on that one.
Yeah, let me reach out to Greg. I'll probably talk to them again at some point soon anyway. Let me reach out to him because I could be completely wrong about it being Mount Lebanon, but I know it was something along those lines. And I know it was somewhere relatively around us. So I'll get in touch with Greg and see what I can find out about if there's a contact or if he has, you know, any type of information that he can provide to me about it.
Okay. And then that leads us on to our next item here, which is an update about the vision document. And this is just kind of a rolling item. It's been on the agenda the last few months, and we've been busy with other things on our agenda. But it is a living document, and so I think we just talked about adding some more information and resources about brick preservation to that document. But also, is there anything else that anyone would like to discuss adding to it, or any changes that we think are needed? It's really just a check-in, because that is something that we can update every month as we see fit. I think for starters, a good thing to add to that, because we created it and there was a page in it about the Linden site that was done before the workshop about the Linden site was hosted. So some of the findings from that, and perhaps a link to the recording of it, or a summary of those findings, which we had put together for council. Perhaps that summary could be embedded into the vision document to update it, to show that we have now moved beyond where we were with the Linden site a year ago. And provide a summary of where we are now, because there has been a workshop and there has been a presentation from residents, and there's a recording of the presentation, and there's a recording of our planning commission meeting where a series of residents presented their ideas. So there are a lot of other ideas and resources out there that were generated through that that link to that.
Well, I think that's
initial
a great
idea.
Like citationing, start citationing, you know what I mean? The work that's done around it. Each of these workshops, go back and say that, you know, this was addressed, so somebody can say, oh, they did talk about this. You know, one of the things about that park plan is, well, it's a tome, right? You can't read it. It's 10,437 pages at last count. But it doesn't give you really context of what, you know, what had happened and how it got there. I think you're exactly right. For it to become a living document, you know, putting the wiki citations in that link out to the recording of the session, or, you know, if we have the PowerPoints or something, you know, into a public Google Drive, or, you know, something like that for people to be able to go access. I don't know if that's going to happen on the Craftonborough website, if we can't get them to keep the meeting time updated. Savvy Citizens got 6:30. This is 7:15. But if we have just a simple way of doing it, what I don't want to do is do something that we did for 6 months in 2021 and then nobody gave a rat's patootie about ever again. You know what I mean? So if this becomes something, we got to make it a way to keep it simple, right? So there's like a library of resources that's linked from that visioning document, and we continue to iterate that vision document. Does that seem to be what you're suggesting? Yeah,
I think, you know, we definitely had said that this could be a living document, that we could add new ideas to it as well. But yes, we should also be updating the ideas that we follow through on, in whatever way we follow through on them. If it's been, you know, 1 step or 2 steps or multiple steps, I think those are great things to put in. And I would, to your point about what is actually hosted on the borough website, we should be careful about making sure that our updates are text updates first, and then links to resources only once we verify that they're publicly available, that link is going to work for people. But we do have all of our planning commission meetings available online as videos, and it's very hard for anyone to sort through those after the fact and go back and try to figure out what happened when. I can't imagine how many residents go through and watch multiple planning commission meetings later, you know, months later, to try to see what might have been discussed previously.
Oh, you know, it's like anything else. We live in a digest age, right? It pains me, and I think what you're saying is the community visioning document can serve as the hub, and it can link out to the supporting spokes. I'm not saying we go back and we say, on December 42nd, Kirsten busted out the GIS map and drew a cool picture of this property at the 37th minute, 42nd hour of this set. You know what I mean? I don't know if we could go back and index, I'll do all that sort of stuff, but to say, generally speaking, hey, this is what this meeting was about, right? And somebody could pop that open and fast forward through it, but it would be linked from that visioning document about the Linden property, linked from that visioning document about, you know, I just don't know.
Maybe we're saying the same thing. I think we're mostly saying the same thing. Yeah, I don't anticipate that we would put the agenda or topics from every planning commission meeting in the vision document.
No,
but
yeah.
where we address something from the vision document, I think that is worth putting in that document. And specifically, when we have a workshop on something, that recording should be linked to the vision document. And in the case of the Linden site, we had a set of residents give their own presentation, laying out some of their ideas. And that was within a planning commission meeting. So it's not a separate recording, and it will be difficult for people to find if they don't know where to look.
Right.
But if we put that right in the vision document, then that makes it clear these residents also shared some ideas, and this is where you can find their presentation and link to that meeting, and perhaps link to the time in the recording where it begins. But there's been a lot of input that has gone into that from us, as well as from some residents, and all of that is worth keeping. And I think that vision document is a good place to reference it and then link to it directly. These are things that have happened to follow up on the ideas in that initial document.
I think that's a great idea. What do we want to do with it? I mean, I can do a pass through on some edits. You know, the Google, we have a Google version of visioning document, and then we have a PDF version that's sitting out in the public domain, right?
We have a
Yes.
PDF version. I don't think there is a video version of the vision document itself. There's a video
No, I
version
said
of
no,
the
not
workshop
video.
we had on it.
Google. Google. I think we have a Google version of that document.
Right, that's in the planning commission files.
Yeah,
So
wherever.
it's editable for us.
But it's not in the public domain.
That's right.
So what I'm saying is we can go poke around, drop some links and some stuff into it, and it's not like anybody else in the universe can see it. And then once a year, from time to time, when it's pertinent, we can publish a new PDF that can go out onto the website, right?
That's right.
But we don't have to worry about putting live edits. Colton's nose is funny, blah, blah, blah. You know, if I put something in and you know, somebody sees it and says, oh, that was a terrible thing to say, we can keep that amongst us while we're in draft mode, semi-final mode, whatever, and then publish off a PDF. You know, right now we have version 1, community visioning update version 1 is sitting out there. So what we could do is we could all kind of play around with that Google Doc. We feel we get it to a point where it's now version 2. We can continue to work on it, but we, you know, squeeze off a copy, a PDF copy that becomes version 2 for the public website, blah, blah, and continue on. What I would say that we could do alongside of that, though, is go to Google, go to the, what does the borough have? They have OneDrive. Go to something where we can dump in, and I wouldn't say that we would ask anyone to go and peruse a Google Drive, but if we consolidated all of these assets as files into that Google Drive, they could all be there, right? Because you're not going to go searching through the drive, but putting it all there so it's all in one place.
I think they should all be links on the website, because
That's what I'm
there are only so many things that are actually current and publicly shared.
Right.
Once they, you know, they're only, we are a volunteer planning commission. We don't have more than enough things at any given time that are current to fill a website and become overwhelming. So I think they can all be links on the website. We don't need to send people to dig through a Google Drive.
It's not what I was suggesting at all. What I was saying is if we put all of those things, rather than, because right now that PDF from Wozniak is in your email. It's in this, it's in that, it's in the, you know what I mean? If we just have a place where we place all those assets into, we don't have, no one has to mine them, no, because they have a link, they have a URL, but they're all in there. Wherever there is, we pick a there, we dump them in there, and then the links to those various assets, the specific links to that PDF would be embedded into the visioning document. You know what I'm saying?
You're just saying organization on the on our drive for our own sake of what types of documents we believe merit linking on our website.
I'm moving in 2 months. You'll never see me again. If there's a bunch of shit that's on my Google Drive and I choose no longer to share to it, and you've got a linked into, you know what I'm saying, right? So let's just make it a best practice of pick one place, throw it in there, and then, you know what I mean? No one has to mine it, no one has to do anything with it. Just throw it, and then the link goes to that location for the document and not sitting on Lydia's Google Drive or my Google Drive or whatever. That's all. Just organizational skills.
That makes sense. And we do have a planning commission Google Drive, and almost everything that we have shared is already on there.
Right.
So, okay.
Right. So what did I do?
So for the vision document, we will be, and Eric, you volunteered to take the first pass at this, and I will take a look at it.
Yep.
In a couple of weeks before our next meeting, I'll take a look at it as well and add anything else.
Yep.
We will place updates about this, anything we think of. Of course, this is always editable, but the two things we specifically mentioned, we're adding some information about keeping the brick streets and the resources that have been shared with us, and the document assembled by Greg. And then an update about the Linden site with links to the workshop recording and the presentation prepared by residents during our planning commission meeting.
Cool.
And potentially any updates from the Crafton Boulevard workshop. The takeaways from that.
Yes. Where is the document? What is the FAQ domain? Oh, I see. I just wanted to put a link into it here so we're not hunting around to it. Okay. I get it all? I miss anything?
You can put my name on that too. You can assign that I will also look at it. You gotta put it in writing so we don't forget.
Right? What's
Um,
measured gets done. All right. That doesn't preclude anyone else from doing anything, but we're just gonna say, let's just get the ball moving. Do something. Do something. All right.
Right, that is always a living document for the Planning Commission, so things can be added to it at any point for discussion or consideration purposes. But Eric and I will add the items that we have just discussed here. So that brings us to our next item on our Crafton updates, which is the Crafton newsletter, which is due. So the Crafton newsletter is has available space and is looking for things to include. And if we would like anything in the newsletter, it's due by Thursday. So rapid fire.
So I took a stab at writing something right before the meeting, just about the workshops, but we can certainly add to it. Would you mind if I shared my screen? And
Yeah.
Or I
We'll
could
stop sharing.
copy and paste the text.
No, I stopped sharing, so you should be able to share.
So this is just an announcement about community workshops, but we could certainly add anything else.
I think that's great. I think it's been about a year since we put out the visioning document. So I think it's good to just remind people and maybe put something about
Eric mentioned something about maybe creating a survey about
new survey.
districts.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I thought it was May 12th. So they want to distribute on May 12th. They want to print on Thursday.
Right. Yeah. It
That's
needs
what
to
happens.
go.
I
to
just
print on
read
Thursday.
the iNotes. Yeah, I misinterpret and do all that sort of thing. That's terrible. I could have
Eric,
something.
you already offered to make a survey.
Yeah, I can do it. It's no problem. I can do it.
Well, do we want to discuss any questions or content for the survey?
I don't have any questions or content.
I think it'd be, I mean, you had one initially that focused on just getting a sense of who is following these, who's taking the survey.
Yeah, so the
gathering some
principles
information about
yeah,
residents versus, owners versus renters, and, what times are people available for events, to attend some of the webinars that we've been having. But it'd be nice to maybe ask how many people have been aware of the visioning process, how many people have been aware of the comprehensive plan, how many people have attended any of the Planning Commission events, how many people are aware of or interested in learning more about the eco district. And those are just some initial thoughts. So I'll turn it over to the rest of you.
I think it's terrific. Let me dump the copy of this in. Cool. I will make it happen.
I kind of missed some of it from before. Are we reiterating questions about what time works best?
Yeah, it'll be the same exact bottom half of the survey as before, the demographics, right? Now we want to know a little bit about you. The first half will be the questions, the 5 questions that you just put on the screen, plus anything that I think is really blew my mind about what you guys talk about tomorrow with eco districts, right? Anything that, something that resonates, whatever, I'll come up with something that's magical and fun.
If we get an answer yes to have you attended a previous workshop, are we following up on anything else about what they thought of it?
Yeah, I will, yes. Yes, I will make it a market sensitive survey around their experience with the planning commission activities thus far. Yeah.
Okay.
Similar, same thing that we did with Thrive, right? Last one was Thrive. This one's going to be about the general planning commission and specific to the eco districts. Because I
Okay.
think, forward, the eco district is probably going to be something that's going to be, I feel like, is going to be something that you guys are going to talk about more and kind of grow as a kind of central theme of the work that you'd like to see done. Is that a fair statement? Am I overstating that? Seems like eco district's going to be kind of our future.
I am all in favor of that, especially.
And I'll just say without emotion, yes, and we run through that brick wall until somebody puts up a thicker brick wall and says stop. I mean, it just makes all the freaking sense in the world,
I saw Sharpsburg got certified recently.
See?
It I think it completed the Triborough certification for eco districts.
I don't know if Millvale ever got certified, but Sharpsburg also just got the, I guess this was Aspinwall, so it's a little further down. They got the railroad owner to agree to sell a chunk of the railroad along the river,
I read that.
which had been eyed by various entities to purchase for open space and trail connectivity. And so it's pretty much a done deal that that's going to be bought and turned into trails and open space connectivity. And there's also Gertie's Run, I believe it's called, out in the Millvale area. They received a grant to buy the property to turn it into a park. And those were both things that were maybe not directly coming out of their eco district plans, but were impacted and facilitated by the fact that they were directly connecting into this community process that had a lot of backing and had a community consensus to build an eco district around. So those were two projects within the last year, two purchases and acquisitions of land that were building upon these community eco district processes and have been successful.
So unless anyone else wants to me to make any edits, I'll just send this text in an email to Kirsten and Eric,
Cool.
and we'll get it to, or do you want me to send it to Carissa directly? Whatever you want. As far as this first blurb.
Let her rip.
I wouldn't mind just thinking about it a bit more and seeing if we could perhaps add, because I know she said there's space. So if we could take up some more space, that would be nice. Could we add any images? Could we add perhaps the cover letter of a cover image from the community visioning document? Could we add anything that came out of any of the workshops?
I think a copy of that little GIS handy cam thing that you did with the iPad. Lyndon may be a little contentious for the newsletter, you know what I'm saying? But when you were drawing the pictures around, like when that nice lady was talking about the traffic on the by the Meyer Middleton field, by the valley there, you know what I mean? You kind of had a nice thing going there. That'd be a great thing to put as a picture into it, the kinds of things that are done. It's an interactive session. It's not sitting yet,
I would love to maybe just add another few sentences that actually list out the workshops that we had, the topics, so that those who aren't familiar, they see them written there. They don't have to follow the link to find out what we talked about. Can we just tell them the topics?
I kind of did here, but you can certainly make it more specific. I kept it a little broad. Like I say development opportunities in lieu of Crafton Boulevard and Linden specifically, but we can certainly make that more specific.
I think that's wonderful. I'm just if there's space to fill, I wonder if we can fill more space and bring more attention to the things that we've been doing. Colton, with Lydia's help, also just made that really nice flyer for the Eco District webinar, although unfortunately, I don't know if it's worth including that if this letter will go out after the webinar. We could include it anyways as an image of, you know, our latest thing and keep looking for upcoming events.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's nice to have people attend, but it's also nice to have people review, you know. Even though you're promoting something that's already happened, that's kind of what we want them to do, right?
The recording will be posted
Yeah.
on the borough website. They always are. So even though we won't have the link to share yet, it's possible we will actually by Thursday, but it might be a little fast turnaround. It will be posted through the Planning Commission website, so we can point people there to then look for the.
You already have it. It's right there. There's the links are already there. Go to the website for more information.
Yeah.
You know,
We can put in this, we can put that flyer in the newsletter and then post, put a sentence or two saying that this workshop was our most recent one and the recording is posted on the borough website if you'd like to follow up. So Lydia, do you want to send that to Eric and myself, and perhaps I can add a bit to the text and then Eric can create the survey, and we don't necessarily need to send those to, I suppose we would want the link to the survey to be active right before it goes to Christmas. So you and I can coordinate on that tomorrow?
Yep.
And Thursday?
we can always change, right? I mean, that's the nice thing about the intranet. I'll give a QR code and a link to the survey for to put in.
Yeah, that's right. So as long as the link is correct,
Yes.
it's not actually going to print for another week. So
There you go. That's why I said I'm not worried about, getting it Thursday. We'll have something, and then, if you guys, you're smarter than me, if you guys want to add more shit, then we'll add more shit, or better stuff. Sorry.
So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing then, and I'll send this over, and unless anyone has any notes you want me to put in here directly right now.
I snapped a picture of that and put it into the notes doc, so we're fine.
Okay.
yeah, you're good. If you could just send that to, you send it to all of us, but send it to Eric and myself for sure. And I will add a little bit of text and the link to the survey. Go ahead and share my screen again. So the next item on our agenda here is the Eco District webinar, which we're having tomorrow. And just had a general review of what is in this to make sure that we're all ready for it. Do we want to go through this? We had allocated out sections to take. There's a template in here with sections indicated, but it looks like we do still have some placeholders. And then Rich is not going to be able to take a section. That was in his email today, that he's not going to be able to, he's not able to be here tonight, and he's not able to take on a section for tomorrow. So do we want to go through the?
Yeah, when I didn't know that, when I sent that email, I said I can do that section. I don't even know what it was, but that way it's assigned or whatever. But
yeah, the assignment does include making the slides and talking about them.
Yeah.
So do you guys want to go through the outline first or the slides first, or is there anyone concerned?
Let's just go right to the slideshow. That's my vote.
Okay.
I'll just
So
let you guys know mine started, but it's not, I haven't gotten very far on it yet. I have to work on that tonight when we're done here, and tomorrow it'll be done.
okay. As long as everyone's comfortable. I haven't done my slides either, but I will do them. I'll do them tonight and tomorrow. So our introduction here, Eric, I had gone ahead and just assigned you straight up to be the MC again. We've done that in our past workshops. And so you'll do the introduction to the Planning Commission and kind of house rules. We can insert the same slide that we've used previously that just has our names and our photos. Well, we already have my name on this one, so I'll go ahead and put in an agenda that goes through the main topics here. General introduction, this is all me. And these slides are pretty much together. This will all be just kind of a very brief overview, getting everyone introduced to what types of things will we be talking about. So I had anticipated, Eric, you would spend about 5 minutes getting the general introductions and house rules, and I would spend maybe 5 minutes giving an overall overview of what we're going to be covering tonight. And then the next section is the protocol section, and this one is Lydia.
Right. I worked on these the other day,
Okay.
so I have what I want to talk about underneath.
Okay, so you're comfortable with all of this? Do you want to review anything, or are we good to move on?
Only I hid the one that I didn't feel super comfortable talking about. I wasn't sure exactly how this like little equation, how to describe this little equation. If you want to give me more direction, I could certainly talk about this one instead of hiding it.
That's up to you. I mean, all of these were just things that I started. But you're welcome to change them.
I go into detail with the imperatives, so I'm comfortable.
Yeah, mostly everyone who's doing a section should just feel comfortable with what they're presenting. So if you're more comfortable with your other slides, then that's totally fine.
Okay.
That sounds good. The governance implications, that is going to be me. And I will add a little bit to that, but I'm pretty comfortable with talking about that concept. So I'll talk a bit about, this is all just the overall structure of how it works with the community and how it builds community empowerment and how it works with community input and involvement. And this is a little bit of the philosophy of collaborative governance, and then a little bit of just the putting it into more plain speak, how this really would work for our community, what the benefits are, and how this can be community led. This is something that a lot of places bring consultants in for, but doesn't require a consultant. I think we would want one to get very far with it, but we don't have to start with one. So we'll talk a little bit about how this is really a community-led process. That leads us into the process portion, which is the steps for creating an eco-district.
So that Rich had originally said he would take on, but we'll need to change the name at the bottom.
Yeah. So if Rich isn't going to be able to take this on, would anyone else like to do this? Or I'm fairly familiar with the process, so I can take this one on.
If you're already familiar, that's great by me. I said I can do it if you're swamped, but please go right ahead.
Yeah, it's a fairly busy week for me, but I'm pretty familiar with this process. So this is something I can definitely talk about. Oh, come on, copy paste. I don't want to do that. Bringing it in white. Why?
I was noticing that too. I don't really get it.
Okay. All right, well, I will take that section. That brings us to the examples of eco-districts, and that's Colton.
I did want to ask, did we have, because I know we've really only talked about Millville mostly. Do you guys have, because I can't recall, and I did a quite short bit of research today. Do we know of any other ones around us that are eco districts that have done this aside from Millville, or should I branch out farther than just here? Because I couldn't find anything. Every time I typed eco districts around Pittsburgh, everything about Millville came up.
So I can send you the links again afterwards. You're welcome to use others, use whatever examples you would like, but in the outline, there were Millvale, Sharpsburg and Etna, High Falls, New York, which is by Rochester, and Denver were the 4 examples that we had listed. And all of those have studies or like project sheets that are in our OneDrive.
Okay.
So they're pretty easy resources to pull from. And again, if you want to look on the Eco District website, they list a ton of others. So, but those 4, those are on the outline for this webinar, and those are in our OneDrive.
Okay, perfect. I'll just utilize those ones then. That works. Sorry, I haven't dug that deep into this yet. I apologize. It's been, I second that it's been a busy week. It's been a busy month for me. So
These months always go by so fast. No worries.
yeah, I can't believe it's already almost May. So anyway,
For
but
once,
yeah, I'll have this done by lunch tomorrow. So
I'm a huge supporter of having very, very minimal graphic slides and then just talking around them.
works for me.
People don't like reading that.
Kirsten, you just said one in our OneDrive. Are you talking about the Google Drive?
Our Google Drive, I'm sorry, our Google
Okay.
Drive.
No, it's totally fine. I was like, this is something that is not known to me. Okay.
Yeah.
We're good.
I'm used to that. I'm sorry. I put that in the outline also. It's not a OneDrive, it's a Google Drive.
It's totally fine. Yep.
So just to reiterate, then in that case, you're good with like minimal information as far as on the slides go, and then just talking about it more. So in other words, I don't need to go nuts with these slides.
Yeah, I have personally, I have no preference how you guys would like to do your slides. As long as everyone is comfortable speaking for a section of time, more or less what's in the outline. And I'm hoping if anyone, thinks we need to make some tweaks tonight to that, that's something we can definitely do. But as long as, that section so far, I'd put about 10 minutes. Does that sound good to you? Whatever slides work for you. If you can talk for about 10 minutes, that's good.
I can do that. I'll use those 4 examples that we had.
The next section is the implication and ideas for Crafton and Ingram. And this is Eric.
Yep.
Are you comfortable with that? Do you have anything you need to talk through, or?
No, I'm good to go. You put all the cheat sheets into the brain dump. I mean, it's just, I spin everything, right? But the takeaway is that's the content. But I look at this more of, it's like walking into a restaurant without a menu. You know what I mean? What do you order? Right? You have no idea what you're doing if you're not understanding the assets that you have, the implications it makes. But when you contextualize and you break it down around equity and climate, people are going to laugh, blow off the equity piece, right? What is equity? I think that I can speak to that. I mean, that's what I do every day. More around the direct impact and the consequential impact that can have for us. But the climate piece, climate, you think about the news and the politics of it, but what we're talking about is the fact that the stream's looking better. I mean, there's certain things about air quality that are inalienable, right? I mean, anybody who's lived here for more than a couple of years remembers when our air quality was far worse than it was right now. So I think there's things that we can talk about.
It's pretty bad right now. You can look on, there are various websites that track this. Like
Let me tell you, in 1972, you could not see the sun in Pittsburgh, right? So there's progress. It's still not good. There's progress, and there's a shit ton more progress that can be made. right? But by having a strategy around it, gives you something for people to talk about and for people to plan around, and finally for people to take action toward, right? Otherwise, it's just our council government having antics about things that never get decided upon. Similar to a zoning thing that's gone on for, was it 3 years now? Right? But when you have a plan and you have a set of resources underneath that plan and you force yourself to make decisions, good things happen.
These, for me, and there are multiple points we could bring out of this, but I think for me, the two that are really the biggest points to bring home for Crafton are one, that by having that plan, and it is community led, you're equipping the community to fulfill it themselves. The whole point of the way that eco district plans are set up, they do not require things like council action. They definitely desire and benefit from council buy-in and support, but they equip the residents to be able to take steps on their own. And then the other thing is that these are steps that are often small. It uses a lot of big terms like equity and climate protection, but the things that communities have actually done with that, I think through this section and through what Colton presents, it'd be great to highlight what that actually physically means at an implementation level, because a lot of those things are things that make immediate impacts in people's lives. It's better access to the library. It's a community garden. It's, we talk about equity, but that's not a vague term. It's good to give people ideas of what does that actually mean for your everyday life.
Do you mind going back up to the one slide where I'm talking and go to like equity, for instance? And then can you pull up the notes part?
Are there separate notes?
You're already there.
Or-
Underneath it, right? Oh, you mean the?
I don't know. I thought I had some, maybe it's in priorities. I had written out some things I had found as examples. I just wanted to make sure that made sense. But
Yeah, there's some notes in here. But that all makes sense. And then this one and anything else you want to add or use is kind of helpful because it starts to show what that means, what fits within those
right.
terms. But this is also all just this is what section 2. So
Yeah.
we'll keep building on it. And then that last section is when we'll
Right.
talk about how all of these things can really impact Crafton.
And is it true that climate protection, they ask us to create a path, commit to a pathway to carbon neutrality, although they don't dictate how long it'll take or exactly how you do that?
Yeah, that sounds right. It does ask that it doesn't put any limits or any requirements on what the quantity is or what the time frame is, just that we're doing measures that
Get us toward that.
work towards this, that are more carbon neutral than the opposite.
Okay. Thank you.
And then in terms of Ingram, as I put in the email earlier about when I sent out the agenda, Ingram will be participating. Greg is unable to participate, but Jim and Aaron will both be participating from Ingram. And Jim has offered to do some speaking as well. So he'll be speaking primarily in your section, Eric. I think you'll do your segment, and then we'll pass the mic over to him, and he'll spend a few minutes talking about the impacts for Ingram and their interest in participating in this also and working together on this. He's not making any slides, but he'll talk for a few minutes. So we can probably anticipate adding a few minutes to that section and maybe being a bit shorter elsewhere.
And who is doing that?
Jim.
Marsilio.
Cool.
Right, so I think you can just present through the slides that you have and talk about what you'd like to talk about. And when you're done, we'll pass the mic over to Jim. He's not a panelist yet, but I can either make him a panelist or we'll simply unmute him and give him the chance to speak at that point, and he'll talk for a couple of minutes. And then the closing comments, I was going to give a closing summary that can be incredibly short if we're running low on time, just to kind of recap and hit the high points again.
Yeah, from a facilitator perspective, we want to keep it hard stop at an hour, or do we want to keep it 50 minutes with 10 minutes of questions? Or
what do you all think? I think we should definitely not go over an hour, because this is all presentation, and that's plenty for us to present. I think that kind of keeps us on target and concise and keeps it within a limit that people will be willing to watch later if they missed it.
I mean, that's about 2 minutes a slide. I think we're gonna get right up to that hour.
the only one that's qualified to answer questions would be not me, maybe others. So I don't know the value in a Q&A, but do we want to offer a Q&A into the proceeding, or just maybe take a question if there happens to be one? How do you want to do that?
Kirsten, you had kind of thrown this out on the outline about what to do if somebody's interested in being involved.
I think it would be nice if people are participating tomorrow, and I hope people do.
How about we add to the survey?
It'd be nice if immediately starting tomorrow, there's a way to direct people to indicate that they're interested, or to, sign up.
So I'll have the survey done. I'm going to a conference tomorrow for Gates. I don't have to pay attention to anybody for anything. So I'll get it done. The survey I can have done where add your email if you want to be part of the eco district. You know what I mean? And we can just make an email distribution list, and you can send a follow-up to fill out this form. Who the hell are you and what do you want to do? But at least the survey we can use as a catch-all. If you're interested, right, sign up here. Then we'll have an eco district, plan commission, whatever you want to call it, mailing list. Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be great. If you're maybe just make sure the survey is not too long then, so that people can sign up without doing a lengthy survey.
How do you guys feel about the last one? Was it too long? It was too long, wasn't it?
I thought that was great. I just think that, there's some people might want to take the survey. Some people might only want to sign up for a newsletter.
We'll make the first question.
Can you submit it without finishing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that'd be perfect then. And I thought your last survey was wonderful. It's not that it was too long. I just, do we want to get people to sign up even if they don't want to take a survey? All right, well, that sounds good then. Does anyone else have comments or concerns or anything we want to review? Or are we all comfortable with just doing our next webinar tomorrow? We'll sign on a little bit early, like usual, maybe 15 minutes early, or as soon as we're able. For those who can't be 15 minutes early, I'll probably sign on 15 minutes early. And
So we're starting at 6:30 PM on April 28th, right?
Right. All, for what it's worth, I don't know that my slides will be 2 minutes each. I just was doing go by with 2 minutes. So if we have a bunch of time at the end, we're not running up to that hour. I don't have any issue with opening it up to some Q&A if we have some time. Maybe we could just play it by ear.
And I can always jump in and say, man, that's a great question. We have no idea. You
And
know,
that's perfectly fine. I mean, I think throughout this, and I took the governance piece because I thought that was a little more complicated and, you know, speaks to the handbook, and I thought I would just talk about that. But it's community led. There's not a right way, and we probably would get a consultant at some point. So, but we don't have to have all the answers. But I think we can certainly take questions and gauge interest and tell people that we're going to continue following up on this if this is something the community is interested in doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. Anyone else?
I'm good.
Colin,
on
you
that.
good?
I'm
Sorry.
good.
Sorry, I picked on your nose. Looked at your little sunburn there. That's all.
No, you're good. It's allergy season and I made the mistake of cutting the grass today. So
Ah, that's what it was. See, I'm observant.
So I think with that underway, with that done anyways, the March minutes still have to be circulated. Rich has them assembled, and I think he sent them to you, Lydia, but I haven't seen them. So they haven't been circulated to the Planning Commission, so I think we can defer that to next month.
That's fine. He sent me the first draft, and I had marked it up in pen and then sent a picture of my markups to him. So maybe he hasn't incorporated the markups yet in the electronic version of the draft minutes.
He wasn't able to be here, so we'll defer that until next month, and we'll review the March minutes next month.
Just so you're aware, Kirsten, I'll go ahead and send both my markups and his original draft to you. Just keep you in the loop. I think he was sending them to you directly, but then I kept having so many edits that he just started sending them back to me to edit first and then forwarding them back on.
And we have no citizens who are joining us now, so should we go ahead and conclude at 7:59?
Motion to
Second that.
adjourn.
Motion that. See you guys. Have a good night.
All right, have a good night, everybody.
You
Thanks,
too.
guys.
See you
Good night.
tomorrow.
Getting drums now, good timing.